So if you're on a TIR, you won't have to do that. And all of that information will be in what I send you probably the last week of April is when I'll send it to you. That way, you're not having to mess with all of that because you can't turn it in early anyway. And like Amanda, I will probably email you to death this semester, just reminding you of everything, but that's just my way of, just trying to help you, because I know that with student teaching, you're going to have a lot on your mind, a lot of things that you need to do. So just watch for emails from me. It's alif@marshall.edu. If one of your friends says, I got an email from Tammy and you haven't gotten one, let me know, because sometimes the emails will go to spam, they'll go to your junk mail. So contact me at any time during the semester. Don't hesitate if you have any questions. Just go ahead and contact me. And like I said, my email is alif@marshall.edu.
Okay. Questions right now? This is the time. Yes.
On the email you sent me about my placement.
Okay, this is not a placement question. Time out. Tammy question. We'll talk about that in a minute. Any Tammy questions? Graduation or certification? All right. Okay. See how good was that? Real easy. All right.
I'll see you back over there.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and get started right in our program. And I will pause for questions, or if you want to save your question until the end. Let me just say this. If you're thinking of a question that you think is for the good of the group, ask it. Because sometimes we'll leave here and then I'll end up with getting like 4 emails of the same thing, when I could have just covered it and everybody else was thinking about it. So just to get started, the things that we are going to go over today during my part of this are just basically your expectations for the student teaching experience. So first off, it's your first day of school for right now. Are you all pretty excited? It's your first day of undergrad, right? So I always loved like the first day of school, and even this morning, even though the rest of my people were asleep because Wayne County's closed and it was cold, I was like in the dark putting on makeup, just trying to get here because I was excited to get here. So I was texting a few of you last night that I've supervised in the past, about, hey, we're going to have a good day. So the things I want to talk about will help you just get on the right path for student teaching. And because I just want to reiterate this a million times today. We want this to be a positive experience for everyone. Obviously, we want you guys to have a positive experience. We want the cooperating teacher to have a positive experience, the supervisor, the principal, but most importantly, who do you think we want to have the best experience? The students. Thank you for saying the students, because that's the number one. That's the number one priority, okay? The reason why we're all here. All right, so we're going to go through this. I don't want to say quickly, but we're going to go through this kind of condensed. So. Okay, after I talk today, Dr. Lucas and Dr. Watson will be over to talk about the TPA, the Teacher Performance Assessment. If anybody's ever heard of that from prior students, you're like, yeah, I know that cuss word. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our evaluations and lesson plans. We're going to talk about live text. I'm not sure if Dr. Watson is still doing arts and bots, but I left it on there just in case. We're going to break for lunch, and then Beth Waugh, who is with Career Services, is going to come over. She has tons of really great information. And then hopefully Debbie Smith with Cabell County Schools will still be here, and she's going to talk about some hiring and ways to apply. And then we're going to have breakout sessions with your university supervisors. All right. So let me just see if I can get this little video to play. It's pretty awesome. Do you guys know who this guy is? Kid president? Raise your hand if you know who this is. All right, that's what I like to see. I think you'll enjoy this if I can get it to work. Okay, hang on. Full screen. Oh, see, I pretend like I'm really good at technology, but I'm not, and that's okay. I'm good with that. I own that. Let me turn us up here. Oh, we're up. I think we're up. Okay, maybe we'll come back to this. How's that? All right, so let's talk about first day of school.
I was going to come ask you something
Oh,
about what
that's
was
okay.
playing.
This one right here. Hey Clay, can you come here and help me for just a minute? I have someone actually that works with the facility, so he can.
That's awesome.
How's that? I know, right? I have like my own personal tech man. I just bring with me. Dr. Allen, let me ask you. Okay. So what we're talking about today is first day of school. Everyone in here should have already communicated with their cooperating teacher. If you have not emailed, text, talked to on the phone your cooperating teacher, when we break for lunch, I make this suggestion that you take care of that, okay? Because there's nothing worse than a teacher expecting someone and, you know, you've not tried to reach out to them yet. So you need to definitely take care of that. Tomorrow, I suggest that you arrive early. One of our supervisors, Mr. Hoggs, that can't be here today because he's been sick, but he's like the Huntington Middle supervisor, and he sent me an email and said, I emailed my people, they need to be there at 7:20, I already told them. And I'm like, okay, great. So I'll reiterate that. But, you know, if you have already talked to your teacher, or if you have not talked to your teacher, you need to find out this information. If school starts at 7:45, if teachers are supposed to report by 7:30, what time do you think you need to be there? 7:25, 7:20, 7:15. Be there early, okay? Do not be late. It's just, it sets a bad, it just puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth from the very beginning, okay? Check in at the office and introduce yourself. You need to check in at the main office. Most schools are all locked down anyway, so you'll have to buzz in and report to the office to sign in no matter what. You need to make sure you're wearing your clinical ID badge. We will talk about that again at another slide, but that's definitely important. When you get to the main office, first thing in the morning, you may see the secretary, you may see the custodian, you may see the administration. A huge mistake would be to sign in and say, I'm looking for Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, your teacher, and not introduce yourself to these people. I'll talk a little bit throughout the day, or throughout the program, but my husband's an administrator, he's a principal in an elementary school, and it's a real, it's not okay for you to check in somebody's school office and the principal be sitting there and you not introduce yourself to them. Because you're a guest in their building, they need to know who you are, okay? So it just sets things off on the right foot when you take care of that, all right? One of the last things I will suggest on the first day of school is to listen and learn. Did you guys ever hear the thing, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth? Yeah. Listen twice as much as you talk. I think that's good all the time, but that's especially good on your first day. You're there to get a feel like for the vibe of the school, the vibe of the classroom, and the teacher. So you need to just be an information gatherer on the first day, right? All right, so professional conduct. School rules and expectations. If teachers are expected to park in a certain parking lot, then you need to park in that parking lot. Don't park out front, in the front where the peers park. If teachers are expected to dress professionally every single day, no matter what, then you are too. If teachers are not supposed to have drinks on their desks in their classroom, some schools have this rule. Don't come in carrying a big gulp. You know, one of the, in the past, I had a principal call me who was concerned because one of my level 2 students was walking down the hallway eating a sucker. And the school had a no candy rule. And she just had a big sucker around. So I had to talk to her about that. Please, I do not like having those conversations. So please just know what's going on in the school and know what the expectations are for professionals in the school. Schedules. Your schedule is the same as your teacher. That means if they have morning duty, you have morning duty. If they have evening duty, you have evening duty. If they have recess or lunch duty, you have that same schedule as well. One of the biggest complaints I get is about people showing up late or trying to leave early. Now, if you have a 4 o'clock on Monday class, that's an exception. But you need to have have a discussion with your teacher about it. We are all adults and we can all have conversations. So your teacher needs to know what's going on. Don't say, and when I tell you these things, these are all examples. These are all examples, true fact examples. Don't say, well, my wedding is in 7 months and I'm gonna practice my hair and makeup 3 times this week, so I need to leave by 2. That is not okay. We're not gonna do that, okay? It happened. So you need to keep the same schedule as your teacher. Now, when I say that, let's talk for a minute. There are some teachers who will work until 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening. When I was teaching, I would either come in on Sunday to prep for the rest of the week, or I would stay late on Fridays and prep for the rest of the week. You are not expected to do that. You're not expected to stay till 6 o'clock on a Friday. However, I will say this, when I did my student teaching, my cooperating teacher, she stayed late for 30 minutes on Thursdays and made all of her copies and prepped all of her things for the next week. And I stayed with her because I was prepping my things when I was doing the full-time teaching, and that was just a great habit to get into. And I kept that habit for 12 years. So, if they're staying a little bit late, or, always offer, always try to work to show that you are interested in being cooperative and working. Confidentiality. Confidentiality is one of the most important traits that you'll need to have as a student teacher in the classroom. You are going to see things in classrooms and in school buildings, and you are going to hear things, and you are going to be like, oh my gosh, I need to tell so-and-so this. You're going to hear things about students. You are going to hear things about other teachers. You are going to hear things about people you may know out in the community, but you can't talk about it. Okay? Does everybody understand what I'm saying when I'm telling you this? Okay. Confidentiality is just important on so many levels. As a parent, I do not want anyone talking about my child out in public. Is that understood? How many parents do you have in the room? Yeah. Would you want that? No, never. One example, we had a student who was talking to another student in like a checkout line, and they mentioned the school's name and they mentioned a student's name, a first name, and how horrible that student was. And they also mentioned the teacher's name, and guess who was the checkout person? The grandma. The grandma was the checkout person. And they were talking about her grandchild, and they didn't know that's who that was. Another time, another student was bad-mouthing a teacher that they had been placed with to another teacher, and that was that teacher's best friend. Because teachers are friends, even though we are at different schools and things like that, we're all, it's like a sorority. So, yes, Ms. Smith.
I had somebody that was in my classroom talk at the beauty shop.
Yes.
And I live in Huntington, but she was a beauty shop at Wayne. I heard about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't talk about it in restaurants.
No.
You never know who's sitting behind you.
No. If there is something that you feel like needs to be recorded per se, or you need to talk to someone about, I'm your person. That's what I'm there for. Last semester, I received an email one day from a student who had, she had kind of been berated by a classroom aide. They had talked really unprofessionally to her and not treated her very kindly at all. And there was a substitute there that day, so the regular classroom teacher wasn't there. And so she sent me an email just saying, this happened, and I was uncomfortable, and the students were uncomfortable, and this and that, and I was like, I'll take care of it. And I was on the phone with the principal at like 5:30, 6 o'clock that evening, and the principal knew exactly who I was talking about. She knew exactly who the aide was, and she nipped it in the bud the next day. Do you see what I'm saying? That student could have very well went and talked about that to other people in the school, but she didn't. She handled it in the best possible way and was very professional. So just definitely know that. Next on the list is stay positive. You are going to be a little overwhelmed, to say the least. And you're going to feel a little bogged down sometimes, and you may not be in a perfect situation. A perfect cooperating teacher, school, student, teaching situation. Because nothing is perfect. When I did my student teaching, my first placement was really good. The teacher was great. She'd been teaching forever, but she was very open to me trying my own things, and the class was a little rowdy, but it was all right. And then I went to the next placement who I knew the teacher, and I walked in and she said, okay, You're gonna follow my rules, you're gonna follow my procedures, this is what you're gonna teach, this is how you're gonna teach it, and that's it. And guess what I said? Okay, that's great. I think sometimes when we're in these situations, we get a little ahead of ourselves as to what we know and what we think is best and what we understand, but we need to always remember that we're a guest, okay? Treat everything as a learning opportunity. Had I not been put in that situation, I wouldn't have known what a great person the first placement was, because I didn't even know who she was. I wouldn't have known how I would never want to teach kindergarten in the second placement. And then I just learned, I just went from there. I thought, I'll never do kindergarten that way. It was 8 weeks, and I wasn't happy every day, and it was kind of yucky and whatever, but I made it through. Does this make sense to everybody? Okay. Last thing on the list is probably one of the most important things, social media usage. We talk about this in level 2s, we talk about this in level 1s, we're going to talk about it again today because it's that important. A teacher from Huntington High was recently fired, probably, I don't know, I think the official firing was about 6 months ago or so, from comments she made on Twitter 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Did y'all hear about that? It was in the news, yeah. About once a week, I see some sort of report of a teacher inappropriately contacting a student on social media. Do y'all see that? It's on the news all the time. I'm just going to say this. If any of you sends me a friend request, okay, I'll accept it. I will. Do you want to know why I'll accept it? And I'm gonna use a few people as examples because they were like my level 2 students, and so they know me a little bit, and I've formed some like relationships with them throughout the time. But Jessica Roberts is in this room, and she's on my social media. Okay, do you know what my political beliefs are? No. Do you know what this is where I'm going with this. I don't put anything out there that would affect how people would see me professionally or personally. Because guess what? It's nobody's business. I basically have social media because my parents don't live near me. They live far away. I have some family that lives far away. And I like for them to be able to see pictures of my kids. That's why I have social media. I don't have social media to get on there and blast who I think should or shouldn't be president, and this is why, and this and that. Everybody is welcome to their own beliefs. But when you start accepting students and parents and other teachers, and you're sharing that information, it can cause problems for you. Just so you know that. If I was a student in this class, in this room right now, I would have all of my settings on private. Is that understood? Never, ever invite a student to be your friend on any social media account. Just don't do it. That will get you in trouble. We hear about it, whether you think you're being sly or whatever, we hear about it. A few years back, I had a student who was a level 1, and he was just doing an observation, and he knew, it was in a middle school, and he knew a student in there, and they were snapping each other while he was doing observations. And guess what? He's not in the College of Ed anymore. He wasn't from the beginning. Be appropriate. Know boundaries. Understand boundaries. And just, if you are insecure about something that you may have posted, we're all human, right? We're all human beings. It's understandable. Be really careful. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? I've been tagged in pictures before, because that happens. Who's been tagged in a picture and they were like, oh God. Hey, me. You know? Y'all, just be careful. It will get you in trouble. Things will get brought up. People will talk about it. Other things too is sometimes people put on their like Facebook status, worst day ever. Okay, well if you're my kid's teacher, my little love who is perfect, and you put worst day ever, I'm offended because you got to spend the day with my kid, and it could not be the worst day ever because my kid is great. So I'm gonna call school and I'm gonna complain about you. It's gonna happen. I mean, You have to see this from where I stand. You know, when I was a teacher, I was really careful about it, but I didn't really think about it as much as I do now in this position. Does anyone have any questions about any of this stuff that we just talked about? This is good. Yes?
Regarding scheduling, what is our position with like OSC days, early outs?
Okay.
things like that?
That's a great question. If school is not in session, and we're gonna talk about this in a minute on the attendance, but let's say there's a snow day, okay? You got a snow day. That's pretty great, right? If it's on a 2-hour delay, you have the same schedule as the teacher has. So what you'll need to do, that's why I tell you, you know, you gotta be in contact with your people. You gotta be in contact with your teacher. Who got my remind email this morning and already signed up? All right, if you haven't done that, check it and sign up. Because, you know, when I got in this morning at 7:45 and realized I needed to push this back an hour, I was frantically sending emails hoping y'all checked it. And then I thought I need to just get the remind set up. Because I've never had to do this on the first day. You know, we've never had to postpone on the first day. All counties typically have a remind text. Schools have remind text. Classroom teachers have remind text. So you just need to be in contact with your teacher. So if it's an inclement weather, a 2-hour delay, a canceled school, something like that, you need to check the news. If you don't have this contact, which you should, but you know, we don't want anybody going out that shouldn't be going out. Does this make sense? We don't want anybody getting in trouble or getting hurt. Yes?
On a 2-hour delay, you have to make sure when the teacher is supposed to be in the building,
Right.
that's the same time you should be there.
Exactly, and so like sometimes principals will send, you know, we're on 2 hours late today. So school would be starting at, let's say 10, everybody needs to be here by 9:30. Teachers be here by 9:30. You need to be in contact with your teacher. Teachers are really great about this. OSE days, if there's no school, there's no school. So you're not gonna go. Now teacher meetings are different. I expect you to attend. You're gonna learn something from those. So if you have professional development days, you need to go. You need to be there. For spring break, you will take your county's spring break. I know that Wayne, Cabell, and Putnam all have the same spring break this year. That is not Marshall's spring break. So you will need to take your county's spring break. So you will not get the week off that Marshall's off and the week off that Putnam County's off. You just get 1 week, and that is your school's spring break. Trying to think of anything else. Any other questions about those sort of things? Or any other questions about this slide? Did I answer those questions? Yes, yes. I saw a few hands, so I'm hoping I hit on what those questions were. Okay. Okay, dress code. I sent out today that, you know, it was business casual, professional dress, and everybody did a great job. You all look great. I've not added that sometimes, and I've had, you know, pretty important guest speakers, and I've had people come in that will look like they haven't showered in a week, and that is just nonsense. You know, you're a professional right now. You may not be getting paid for this experience, but you are in a classroom and you are considered a professional and you need to act like one, which means you need to dress like one. The professional dress is, you know, I give the university supervisor the discretion as well as the school dress code. Some schools don't have a dress code. Who has been to a school where they've seen teachers wearing jeans and hoodies on like a Tuesday? Yeah, me too. I taught at 4 different schools, trying to think, and nobody wore jeans and hoodies on Tuesday, which is good. When a parent walks in, they need to be able to know who the people are in the building, that are the adults, that are the professionals, and you need to be considered one. Especially you guys who are going to be in like middle school, high school especially, you're not that much younger or older. You know, they're not that much younger than you, and so if you look like a student, is there going to be a respect issue there? Yeah. I actually had a conversation with one of our students about this the other day, about being respected and being taken seriously. And so that goes right along with dressing professionally. Your school will likely, most schools allow jeans on Fridays or casual dress, something to that effect. Jeans on Fridays do not mean jeans with holes all the way down the front, even though apparently those are cool because my 11-year-old has a million pair of them right So I think those are okay, for an 11-year-old, but not for you guys. So no jeans with holes, no cracks hanging out. It's just, I don't know any other nicer way to say it. So no underwear showing. No shirts with inappropriate anything on them. You need to look like a professional. There's a way to wear jeans and look nice, so just remember that. Some schools will have special dress days, not maybe necessarily in this semester, but in the fall semester, we run into Spirit Weeks and Halloween and things like that. We always encourage our students to participate, okay? Tattoos and excessive piercings must be covered. That means ear piercings are fine. If you have nose, lip, anything, on your face, it needs to be covered or taken out. Tattoos need to be covered up. And ID badges must be worn at all times, no matter what. You have to have your ID badge on. So, are you gonna go in schools where you're gonna see teachers with tattoos and piercings? Yes. But you're not hired in yet. You're part of the student teaching class, and that's just one of our expectations, okay? If anybody wants to talk to me more about this later on, they can. Does anyone have any questions, though, concerning that? About professional dress? Yes.
I heard something about hair dye. Does it matter what hair color we have?
I'm just gonna say this. If you are not a distraction, then that's one thing. Does that help? And I'm gonna throw my husband under the bus 100 times a day. He is very, he notices everything like that. Hair and yucky fingernails and tattoos on the wrist, and because I said something about you. He's like, you can't cover that up. Somebody's trying to cover it up at an interview and that's saw it. So just be aware of what kind of classroom you're going in, what kind of school you're going into. We had a student a few years back who is a beautiful girl, a wonderful student. She went to a very conservative elementary school, and she had on a shorter skirt, very high heels, and underneath her hair was pink. So immediately, they didn't care what she could do. Does this make sense to everybody? They didn't care what kind of student she was, what kind of teacher she was, because they couldn't get past that. So we had to have a conversation. She toned that part of it down, and was fine. Now, the next school she went to, they would have never even batted an eye to that. It just depends on where you are. So know your school. When I say know your vibe of your school, that's part of the vibe. Obviously, we kind of say, if you wear something to, my husband calls it the club, if you're going to wear it to the club, don't wear it to the school. It's probably not appropriate. Does everybody get this? Okay. Any other questions? All right. Okay, attendance policy. I want everybody to listen very carefully because sometimes we have quite a few questions about how this works, and I'm not sure why because I go over it every semester. And I'll be also sending you this PowerPoint. And I don't know if you noticed, but I have a camera up. It's not because I like to take videos of myself. It's because I have this website that you're going to get information for. PLC website, everybody know what that is? We've talked about it. If you were in level 2 last time we talked about it. I post all of our seminar videos on there. So if you say something and you're like, I cannot remember exactly what they said, you can go back and watch the video. And it's also for students who are out of area placements or TIRs who are on the job and can't come to every seminar. So everything is video that we talk about. All right. So you have the same schedule as the classroom teacher. We've already talked about that. So there should be no question about that. Let's say you wake up and you've got the virus. Who in here's had the virus? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh, well, if you didn't raise your hand, you're going to get it this semester. So just be ready for it, okay? You wake up and you're miserable, you're sick. You can't, there's no possible way you can function in the classroom today. First thing you're going to do is you're going to text, email, call, whatever you all decide with your teacher together. You're going to get a hold of your teacher and you're going to say, listen, I can't come today. There's no way I'm going to be able to come today. The next person you're going to get in touch with is your supervisor. You're either going to text or call or email them. listen, I was sick today, I've already notified so-and-so. Great. Then you're gonna email me. Okay? So how many people you gotta get in touch with if you're sick? 3. Not 2, not 1, 3. If it comes around that you have missed and you didn't notify my office, you're on plan of improvement. Because you did not follow procedure. Done and done. I'm not fooling with it. Is that understood? If it comes around that you took it, you were sick and you call it, you let the school know, you let your teacher know, and you didn't let anybody else know, you're on a plan of improvement. That is a rule that I do not bend. Okay? All unexcused absences must be made up at the end of the second placement. Everybody starts the first placement on the same day, and everybody starts the second placement on the same day. But not everybody finishes on the same day because people will have days that are missed. I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. When you are doing your TPA, and I don't have it listed here, but you'll know the due date. Let's say the due date was January 1st on the TPA, and if you tell me on December 30th, Ms. Priest, I'm going to be missing January 1st. I will make up the day at the end. First of all, I know why you're missing, and that is unacceptable. Okay? We miss because we're sick. We miss because of a death in the family. We miss because of unforeseen circumstances that we cannot take care of. We do not miss student teaching to finish our homework. Okay? Or because we were up late finishing our homework. Or because of any other nonsense like that. Everybody got it? Because I am old. I get up every morning, I feel bad every day, and I still go to work. You know, everybody wakes up, oh, I feel bad today. Me too. I felt bad at 5:30 this morning, but I got in the shower. I mean, that's just part of life, okay? And this is part of being a professional. And having things together and understanding due dates, you know, oh, I'm a procrastinator. So is 50% of the class. Get over it. Get your stuff done, okay? If you're tardy 3 days, it's 1 absence. It equals an absence. I don't mean, you know, you were 30 minutes late, so that counts as a tardy. No. If you're 1 minute late and your teacher contacts me and says, listen, they have been late over and over, then you're in trouble. Don't be late. Do wrecks happen on the highway and you're late? Yeah. Is there bad weather? Yeah. Does your car don't start? Yeah. Those things happen. But just being habitually late, just saying, oh, that's who I am, that does not cut it. So don't be that person. All right? 3 absences are plan of improvement. Done and done. Understood? Okay, taking the praxis is not an excused absence. I'm gonna miss Tuesday this week, and then to take my elementary ed praxis, and then next week on Friday I'm gonna miss to take the BLT, and then 2 weeks from then I'm gonna miss to take my teaching. No, you're not. If you miss, you're gonna make it up. You know, if you text me or you email me and say, listen, I need to be at the testing center at 2 o'clock on Thursday. Can I leave at 1? We're like, yeah. Talk to your teacher and work it out. That's fine. I mean, I'm going to miss my planning. Okay, no biggie. But if you're going to miss an entire day, you're going to make up an entire day. Is that understood? Okay. The only excused absences are those that fall under university attendance policies. Feeling bad is not listed under the policy. Staying out too late is not listed under the policy. Not getting your homework done is not listed. Okay? If you have any questions about what is excused and what isn't excused, let me know. Does anybody have any questions right now? Yes.
If we miss a day during our first placement, we make it up during the second?
At the end, yes. Like your last day of your second placement is May 2nd. So let's say you've missed 1 day, so you would have to attend on May 3rd, and that would be your last day. So it's it could very well happen, depending upon who you are and like who you are as a person. You know, I hear people say, I'm late, that's just who I am, you know, whatever. You know, graduation is, if I'm not mistaken, that weekend, correct?
Yeah.
You could very well be going after you graduate. After you graduate, you know, so, yes.
I got a question about about like the official absences.
Mhm.
If we get sick and we get like an excuse
Mhm.
from the health center,
Mhm.
who do we turn that into? We
Me.
turn that. All right.
Yeah. Any attendance things go through me. So let's say you do wake up and you are sick. You got the flu, you know, you're bad off. You go to the health center and they write you off for 4 days. I just need the excuse. Okay. Now, inclement weather, I added that to the end. We've talked about that a little bit, but I do want to add this. The first full semester I was here, we got started, everything was fine, and then we got like 15 inches of snow. It's been about 2 or 3 years ago, y'all, like they canceled Marshall for like a week. You remember? All right. It was bad. And then I had some people who were like in Mason County, and then they got flooded. There was floods happening, there was all kinds of stuff. And so then they missed like another week and a half or something. It was insane how much time was missed. You know, I set these placement dates without taking into consideration, you know, you could miss a week, or you could, you know, for snow, or this could happen. And we make adjustments as needed. So, let me just say this. Why I say those are tentative is because, you know, we're trying to get the TPA turned in, or you're trying to teach your unit and you can't teach your unit because there's no school for 2 weeks, then we have to make adjustments, all right? So I just, you know, I know they tell you in all of your classes to be flexible, and flexibility, and teachers have to be flexible. You have to understand that there has to be some flexibility at times. So if something like catastrophic like that would happen again, we will make adjustments to these placement dates. Obviously, we won't extend it past May 2nd, but we may extend the first placement time. So just be understanding of that. Everybody okay? All right, any other questions before we move on? We're rolling along pretty well. This is good. All right, so requirements for success. In order for you to be successful during this student teaching experience this semester, you have to be there. You have to be there. You know, one of the best pieces of advice that I always give in my Union 100 class, and for students who have graduated that will come back and talk, and say, go to class. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And some of you are go to class no matter what, and some of you are like, they tell us we can miss twice, so I'm definitely missing twice. These are the days, you know? Go. You have to be there. Like I stated earlier, I'm trying to think. I wrote maybe 3 plans of improvement this semester, and I know 2 of them for a fact were regarding attendance and not notifying the right people. Okay? Don't be on a plan of improvement. Nobody wants that. Professionalism. Remember that you're a professional in the classroom. You're not their friend. You're not their buddy. You're not there to take over the classroom because it's not your classroom. You're a guest. You need to stay professional at all times. Does that mean not forming relationships with other teachers in the building, you know, and having friendships? No, I don't mean that at all. But especially if you have a high school placement, you are not these kids' friends. And you have got to understand that. And you have to keep it on a professional level, okay? During the first placement, you have to write a 5 to 10 day unit. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. During the second placement, you will write a shorter unit. That first placement unit is what you will also write your TPA on the teaching of it. And Dr. Lucas is going to come over here in a minute. She's going to explain quite a bit of that to you. You have to successfully complete the teacher performance assessment. That is no joke. Someone did not graduate this past semester because they did not complete it correctly. She chose to come back and redo a placement. It was, because here's what's gonna happen, and Dr. Lucas will tell you this, you know, your grader will grade that, and if it needs revisions, they will send it back to you and you can revise it. But when it comes down to graduation dates and us having to turn in lists, if you don't have a passing score by a certain time, then that's a real problem. So she will cover more of that with you, but you have to pass that successfully. Successful completion of the capstone interview. The capstone interview is, and we're gonna talk about, I've got an extra slide for this. But we also give you an extra opportunity if you need to try it again. We will try it again. It's 30 minutes. This is a little different for MAT. For undergrads, it's like a 30-minute question answer panel discussion about your first placement, about the student teaching experience, about your growth, things you need to work on professionally. It's a really good, it's almost like a pre-interview. Does that make sense? So, all items have to be completed by specified due dates. It's just how it is. If the GPA is due on a certain date, it has to be turned in on that date. And you also have to have successful completion of all student teaching placements and acceptable evaluations from cooperating teacher and university supervisor. That's just part of it. Who just completed their level 2s? Okay. A lot of people. On the level 2 evaluation, you know, you have unsatisfactory, emerging, what's the third one? The fourth one's distinguished.
Meets requirements.
Something, yeah, I can't think right now. Okay, so you don't want to be a 1. Because if you get any 1s, you're on a plan of improvement. Okay? Like if your midterm comes through and you've got a 1 on your midterm, I got to put you on a plan of improvement because we got to work on what is unsatisfactory. Okay? If you are emerging, guess what? That's great, because you really are. You're all emerging. All right? If you're a 3, that's even better. That's awesome. Now, 4s, some of you may have gotten 4s. I'm going to say this, and it will hurt some feelings. There's nobody distinguished in here. All right? Me included. I would probably not have rated distinguished on the evaluation, and this is why I probably wouldn't have wanted to be distinguished, because if you're a classroom teacher and you get rated distinguished, you have to have all of this evidence as to why you're distinguished. You're starting out. Our evaluation system is based on the West Virginia Professional Teaching Standards evaluations that are used on teachers in classrooms, and so therefore you should not be distinguished. 2s and 3s are awesome. Okay? Yes.
I had 2s and 3s, but I had 2 NAs. Can you get that?
Yes, you can get an NA. Because sometimes it's just not applicable. That means that the teacher's like, I don't feel like that this category really applies to what we do in my classroom or what I've seen, especially in level 2s, because you're only there for that shorter block. So an NA does not count against you. Is that a question? Anybody else have? Okay. You understand?
So you can't get that in this place?
No, you can. You can get an
Okay,
NA.
but it won't count?
No, it doesn't count against you. And I think and I want to say this too, a lot of people look at that bottom percent. Teachers even do this. Like, let's say they give somebody all 2s, and then they look at the percent, and it looks like they got a 60%. I don't look at the percent. That's not what I'm looking at. And we don't think about the number. We're looking at the category. If you got all emerging, then you are passing. Okay? Everybody understand? Every time that evaluations come out, I get panicked. Oh my God, you know, don't panic. If you are emerging, as long as you don't have any unsatisfactories, don't panic. How's that? Okay. All right. Okay, so repercussions. Plans of improvement can be put into action for unprofessional behavior, issues with attendance, or other factors pertaining to your student teaching experience. I'll just say this again, I don't even know how many times I can reiterate this today. You're a guest. You're a guest in a classroom, you are a guest in a school. Remember that you are a guest. Because when people forget that they're guests in schools and in classrooms, that's typically when personality situations flare up. And I can't change anybody's personality. I can't change yours and I can't change theirs. And then sometimes things become a little, lights shine on things that maybe wouldn't. Does everybody know does everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay, so just remember that. You must complete the assessment pieces by the due dates. That should be a non-issue. If there is a due date for something that's going to make you graduate, you need to meet the due date. No issue on that. Plan of improvement or no credit of experience may occur if the student does not complete assessments on time. Yeah, it happened. I mean, if anybody, people in here who do know me know that I'm probably one of the most understanding people, and I do try to mother you through this, and I want to be good to everybody, but when you blatantly just don't do something when you're supposed to do it, that's a real problem. Last semester I had someone who turned in the TPA and it was not anywhere near finished, and so that person got called out on that. They were given extra chance, this kind of thing. And then they were scheduled for their capstone interview, and the person who was doing the sign-in that morning texted me and said, so-and-so didn't come. They didn't come. And I'm like, what? And so because I was their supervisor, was texting, are you okay? Are you sick? Did you have a car wreck? Because I just talked to this person the day before. Is everything all right? They didn't text me for 3 days. I had to go to their school and they're like, oh, I just wasn't ready for it, so, yeah. That student did not graduate, okay? So just understand that. I try to be good to everybody, I try to give everybody, opportunities, but there comes a point where enough is enough, okay? All right, so the sequence of the placements. Now this can change depending upon the teacher that you're placed with, depending upon how much leeway they want to give you. This can really vary. This is just kind of our basic setup. Basically for the first week, so you're going to be there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'd like for you to just do some observation. For your TPA, on your task 1, it's a lot of classroom demographics and school demographics. You could be gathering a lot of that information in just by observing in your classroom. Your teacher may say, hey, would you like to give this spelling test? Or, hey, would you mind working with this small group? Well, no, of course not. Okay? Week 2, we like to see some beginning teaching. For elementary people, this may be like you're going to take over the spelling lessons for the week, or you're going to take over, something smaller for the week. Upper secondary people, they may say, hey, would you like to do the bell ringers for this week, or would you like to do this? Then week 3 through 7, that's when you're going to really start beginning your solid teaching. Week 8 we have set as a reflection/observation. However, that is just not how this works. This is where I'm like doing this reminder that you're a guest. You don't go in on the first day and say, this is what I'm supposed to do. So this is what I'm doing. And on week 8, if they ask you to do something, no, I'm observing now. Y'all, I have had these problems, so that's why, and I know we can laugh about this and think how ridiculous, but I've had students do this. I'm just going to say this, and by the way, those dates are wrong. I forgot to adjust that. If my cooperating teacher, and I say this all the time, but if I went in when I was doing my student teaching and my cooperating teacher said, okay, I want you to stand on your head in the corner for 4 hours, I'd be like, okay, which corner? I mean, because that's just how it goes. So just remember that, please. Yes?
which lesson plan form?
Oh, great question. I'm gonna show you in just a moment. We have an updated lesson plan format. Thank you, right? I know. And actually I've added it to our PLC site. I'm getting ready to show you guys. I've listed on here responsibility profile and student teaching contract, no later than August 31st. That date is wrong, obviously. We are gonna say, hang on. I've gotta look at the calendar because I'm a little off. January 15th, you guys are gone. I think everyone in here will be off for Martin Luther King Day on January 15th, okay? I know, right? Woo! See, school calendar. The due date for your responsibility profile and your student teaching contract will be January 15th. That gives you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to talk to your teacher, to come up with a plan for your 8 weeks there, to fill it out on a paper that I'm going to show you, to sign it, and to scan it and email it to me. Okay? And I'm going to send all of this out in an email of what I would like for you to do once we get back to. But let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let me go out of this. Maybe. Let's hope for it. Okay, this is gonna be the best way to put it. Okay, can everybody see the screen? Okay, the address for this, which I'm going to send you guys a link, is www.marshall.edu/COEPD, College of Education and Professional Development, /PLC, Professional Learning Community. Okay? This is kind of my site, is what I call it. This has anything and everything that you will need document-wise for student teaching. I loaded it all on here. That way, if you have a question, your teacher has a question, your principal has a question, or your supervisor has a question, or needs information, it's all here. If you look at some of the pictures, we've got like some class pictures. I always take like a class selfie on the last day of school. Our student teachers of the year for the past semester, their photo is on there. We had, we've got our super day on there. If you guys have worked with that in the past, we always are putting it out there. We also had a guest speaker who works for Japanese Outreach who came to our final seminar last semester. It was great. So there's pictures from that on there. But this is our information hub. So this is a website that you need to have, and you need to save it, and it needs to be a favorite. Okay? Let me show you why. If you scroll down, can y'all hear me? Y'all can hear me, right? I've never had trouble with people not being able to hear me. You'll see there's three columns. We've got the student column, the supervisor column, and the cooperating teacher column. Over here is where all of your important information is. Okay, well, my person who uploads my things didn't upload something to it, but I'm going to email him once we're on lunch and he'll have it uploaded. So if you will look here, this is the responsibility profile. This has, it says, it's designed to help the supervising teacher and the teacher candidate plan the transition the candidate will make from the beginning through the end of the placement. Okay, so, and it says this process may be slowed or accelerated depending upon the candidate ability and confidence. So here's what I would like for you to do with your teacher this week. I want you to sit down with them. Everybody has to teach a unit, so you need to have that discussion. All right? What unit would you like for me to teach? I'm going to tell you, elementary, you're going to hear FOSS Kid, most of you. Just be prepared on that because it's going to happen. However, let's say that you sit down and you say week 1, observation / assisting small groups. Okay? Week 2, spelling. Week 3, spelling, English language arts, and math groups. Week 4, full-time teaching. Week 5, full-time teaching. Week 6, full-time teaching. Week 7, transitioning out. Week 8, transitioning out. If that's what it says, okay, that's good. Why do you guys think I have you do this?
So that there isn't any misunderstanding between the teacher and
That is exactly why. Because so often, students would go in and they would say, okay, I need to teach 3 full weeks or whatever. And teachers may give them everything at the beginning. They may give them nothing. And then they may be a little hesitant to allow them to work, to take on. If we have a conversation at the very beginning about what the expectations are, what your role is, what their role is, and what they're going to allow, then there's really no question. Is everybody understanding what I'm saying? Okay. Ms. Smith, have you seen that this works better too? Yeah, because everybody's on the same page. All right? Okay. So that is found on there, yes.
Whenever we do full-time teaching, we're going to be teaching from the first period to the end of the last period. Right?
Yes, bell to bell.
Right?
Okay? Full-time means all day. All right. Let me go back here. Now, I just knew I was going to do that. Jeez, I'm sorry. What'd I tell you? I try to pretend to be techie. Okay, so responsibility profile is the second thing right there. Teacher candidate contract is right here. That's the other document that you have to fill out, scan, and send to me. Basically, it has all of your expectations, teacher candidate expectations. You're going to do all your lesson plans. You're going to do your unit plan on time. You're going to send these to people who need to see them before you teach them. You're going to submit your TPA. You're going to do everything, okay? You're going to initial right there that you have read and understood the professional code of conduct. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Then your cooperating teacher, what they're responsible for. Your observations, your evaluations, looking at your lesson plans, completing the midterm. Okay, they're going to sign it too. Your university supervisor is also going to sign it. It says how many visits they're going to make, how many observations they're going to do. They're going to do your midterm. They're going to do your final. They're going to advise you of your unit plan. They're going to look at your reflection journal if they ask you to do one. So there's that. I understand the expectations of all parties involved with this placement. Dump. So you have to sign it. Okay. Do not bring these and hand them to me. Okay? We're going to scan them and you're going to email them to me. Okay? Understood? Trying to use as little paper as possible. Okay. Now, the professional code of conduct that you have to initial that you've read is this. It's everything we went over this morning. It's about dress code. It's about attendance. It's about following the school rules. Let me just go over it and make sure that we are clear on anything and everything. Do not have your cell phone out in the classroom. This is what this means. You're playing Kahoot with your kids. You're running it from your phone. What's the classroom management? Dojo. You're running it from your phone. You got a timer set on your phone. Okay, cool. Hang on just a minute. Okay, now what? No. Not answering it in class. Please do not do anything to where we have to have this conversation. Is that understood? Okay. Not scrolling Facebook or Insta or Snap or whatever. Don't do that. Stay positive. We've talked about it. Confidentiality. Never counsel students or meet with parents without the presence of a cooperating teacher.